I have historically not been much for buying games on the Board Game Geek marketplace. I'm not sure I've ever bought anything there. I've sold a couple things there over the years, but even that's been a long time. One thing I was in the market for was a smaller Europa title, and there's a couple that I had in mind. One that I found at a very reasonable price was this guy, Balkan Front. This is from Games Research and Design, one of the later generations of Europa titles. This is, of course, the Axis campaigns in Greece and Yugoslavia. And it is in a 1-inch box, highly reminiscent of what we would have seen from Game Designer's Workshop back in the day. I didn't know it was going to be in the shrink wrap, but it is, and here we are unboxing it for that reason. The box is, I'm not sure how well you can make this out, somewhat dished, but so are all my other Europa games, so I don't have a problem with that. This one seems to consciously, even though it has a cover design very reminiscent of the rest of the GRD titles, the back looks a lot more like GDW's, which is interesting. A lot of people refer to this game as Gladio, by the way. I assume this to be an actual era propaganda poster of some kind. Okay, so what do we have? We have stuff, and we have 2 dice, which are quite old school dice. They kind of remind me of the old Avalon Hill dice, but they're not quite the same. We have what looks like 2 maps. These are standard-sized maps for Europa, but I think not standard size for anybody else. And this would be the Yugoslavia side of the map, which with, of course, Yugoslavia here and Greece being down here. And then this map is going to dangle off the bottom and give us the rest of Greece and Crete. So not a bad scale to do this campaign at. That's kind of why I wanted this particular one. The other one I was thinking about was Narvik, but the later GRD release of Narvik is called Storm over Scandinavia. It includes a bunch of stuff that I don't need, and is quite a bit more expensive. So we have here a Balkan Front errata sheet from December 1990. Looks like there's some misspellings on the map, but otherwise not a big deal. Okay, maybe not. All right, so here is our core and Axis core markers display. Here's one for the Greeks, Yugoslavs, and the British as well. Here's a unit identification chart. If I didn't know that it wasn't, I would have just assumed. I mean, it's not like GRD didn't emerge from Game Designer's Workshop. They did. So that this looks just like it would look were it a GDW product is perhaps not at all surprising. We have a terrain effects chart. I have a little bit of trouble. Keep it. Okay, we have 2 different terrain effects charts and CRTs on the back. Victory points chart, which is interesting. Turn record and weather table. And then we have a book, Europa 3. The series never did anything like a series rule book. This is the new version of Marita Mercur was the original. Of course, maybe they renumbered it, who knows. Yeah, okay, so it leaves it out. Fire in the East and Scorched Earth are 1 and 2, and then Narvik is volume 4. Narvik is Invasion of Norway. I think it's at a different scale than the rest of the series. Different unit scale, anyway. I don't know that I think that's a particular problem, because the unit scale in Europa is so weird anyway. So this is a game system that emerged from Drangnok Austin and Utenscheiden in the very early 70s, and I think really shows its age. But I think it will be less inclined to show its age in a smaller format game like this. This is why I wanted one of these couple. Here is a generic marker sheet with airfields. And some rotary markers. They're for odds, actually. That's awkward, very awkward. Okay, wouldn't use those. And then we have 3 sheets of counters, of unit counters. Somewhere on the cards is going to tell you who's who. So presumably these are the British. That does appear to be the case. These guys right here are going to be the Germans. Here are probably our Yugoslavs. Yep. Luftwaffe. Which ones are the Italians? We have some abrasion on this counter sheet, which is unfortunate. Otherwise, the counters look okay. This is on a very old school and quite thick brown core stock. Here's going to be our Italians right here. Okay. And then the way I can tell is from the aircraft, actually. Because I don't have these memorized. There was a really, really bewildering array of counter colors used in this series, as you can imagine at the scale that it was at. Credits on this design by John Astle, special assistance by Shelby Stanton, map research by A.E. Goodwin, and production by Winston Hamilton. It was Winston's death that basically caused GRD to go away, and therefore the Europa project, such as it was, to collapse eventually. It went on to a company. I should do the research on this, but they're all fairly similar names. Historical Research and Design or Historical Games Group or something like that is the current bunch of people who have made a joke out of the Total War project, which turned out to, I think, just be too much for them to handle. Interesting looking game, Balkan front. I'm glad to have it in, not the most awesome box shape, but the inside looks generally pretty good, aside from that one little piece of counter abrasion. And the price was absolutely right, in my opinion. So check BGG before you jump to eBay or Noble Knight immediately. Sometimes you won't see what you need, but or people won't get back to you, which is something else that happened to me. But where that's not really going to happen on eBay or Noble Knight. But I did get this at a price that was roughly a third of what it is currently going for on eBay. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this very brief look at this game from 1990 from Games Research and Design. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments below. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, please check out the Patreon and merch store and all that stuff linked in the video description. Again, thanks for watching. Happy wargaming.